Welcome. Welcome to Life with Miss Jewel, where life be life. And this is the Steps, episode 3, the harlot versus the human being. What was called temptation is really a testimony. Let's get into it. Yeah. I'm still learning day by day. There are names that people get called before anyone understands their story. Harlot, temptation, distraction, problem, easy, damaged, desire, or my nickname, Pussanutty. What a name to be called starting up in your early child development. What is that called to mine in an innocent little girl? But names are often just projections. What someone needs you to be so they don't have to face what they are when they interact with you. She was called temptation, but she was really a testimony. This episode is not about labels. It's about exchange, power, survival, and the hidden negotiations that happen when two human beings meet emotionally, financially, physically, spiritually. Because the question isn't just, what is she? The real question is, what is being exchanged? And who defined the terms? There's a world where power dynamics dressed up as romance, where attention becomes currency, when validation becomes payment, when control is mistaken for love, and where survival can look like choice, but not always like freedom. And in that world, pimping is not always a man in a coat and a hat. Sometimes it's emotional, psychological, subtle agreements made in silence. I give you everything if you make me feel valuable. I'll stay if you keep me secure. Lock and key, chained by desire. I'll perform if you keep me held. I'll shrink if you keep providing. This is not prostitution in a literal sense. This is a prostitution of time, energy, and identity. And on the other side, power doesn't always look like strength. Power is the one who thinks they are in control because they are desired. Power is the one who thinks money makes them the author of the story, the authority. And sometimes power is the one who confuses being needed with being respected. They intertwine. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Both parties are often playing roles they didn't fully design, but continue because the exchange is working just enough to avoid collapse. One seeking stability and validation, the other survival and control. Roles overlap so tightly that you can't tell where they started and where they ended. And will they end? What holds power in these dynamics? Is it the body being looked at, being given, exchanged for low currency, emotional leverage of withdrawal and return, silence used as punishment, affection used as reward? Or is it the illusion that any of it is fully consensual? When desperation is in the belly and rent due, that's true. Because survival changes perception. Who plays the game with you? When survival is involved, choices don't always come from freedom, they come from pressure, history, need, fear of being homeless and hungry. And still, the most dangerous part is not the exchange itself, it's the misconstrued. Because one person may think I'm in control because I provide, and the other think I'm in control because I have to survive or I'll die. My back against the wall and no one to call, cornered with a snake bite. And don't bite the hand that feeds you, and it's a snake in skin, snake shoes. Sometimes the one being used believes they are the one holding all the power until the lights go out. The one giving everything believes that they are winning because they are still chosen only in that hour and then dismissed. Control is not about who leads the dance, but about who is most afraid to stop dancing. Who really wins? That depends on what you think and who you think is winning. Winning is access, then both get access. Winning is attention, then both receive attention. Winning is control, then both are negotiating control constantly. If winning is peace, then the structure itself already unstable. Because anything built on unspoken exchange eventually reveals the cost. And this is where the mirror turns. This isn't just about her or him. This is about human beings learning the language of connection in environments that taught them to trade instead of trust, to perform instead of reveal, to withhold instead of express, to negotiate instead of just being. And maybe the most uncomfortable truth in all of this is sometimes the one being used thinks they are the one in control. Not because they are foolish, because the illusion of power can feel safer than admission of vulnerability. But power that depends on reaction is not power. It is participation in a system. So we end where we started. She was called temptation, but she was really a testimony. And the testimony is that behind every role, there is a human being trying to be seen without being consumed, to be valued without being reduced, to survive without losing themselves in exchange. And the real question is not who is the harlot. The real question, what in us keeps turning human connection into transaction and calling it love? Love. It's an easy, a thin line between love and hate. Until next time, this is Life with Miss Jewel.